As we gather in this meeting on giving wings to dreams, let me start by giving special first mention to Madam Srimati Radha Bhatia, who has led the Women in Aviation India since a long time. Greetings to you, Madam, and to my colleagues, the Chairman, Airport Authority of India, Mr. Vipin Kumar, who has joined us in aviation quite recently, but as we say in the Ministry of Civil Aviation, he has hit the ground running. That was what I was asked to, and he has hit the ground running. Very proud that he has joined us. Srimati Usha Padhi, who is now Principal Secretary in the Government of Odisha, but who was with us in Ministry of Civil Aviation as Joint Secretary and contributed very significantly in her, in her time in the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Mr. Vivek Atre, jury member and also an active part in the activities in aviation and much more. So my greetings to all of you, my colleagues from the Ministry of Civil Aviation, Mr. Madhusudan, our Joint Secretary, and Mr. Padam Negi, also one of the Joint Secretaries, and all the distinguished participants and guests present today. In fact, as the speaker spoke, what came to my mind in lighter vein, if I'm allowed, whenever I go for a program or a social event without my wife, the remark which comes is, "Where is your better half?" So in lighter vein, I told to the friend, "I am the better half." But the way it was rejected that the man is not the better half, I think it recalls today, and all of you are the better half is what I wanted to just express. I think a round of applause. And in that vein, I would like to start, first of all, by applauding to all of you for your achievements, for the efforts that you have put in, the extra step you have taken to reach this position. And it was especially satisfying for me when the Honorable President of India invited 51 of you to meet her, to spend time with her. She gave her time. She expressed how she appreciated the rise of women in aviation and the way she has been impressed and the way she would like to see more and more women in aviation. So it was really a very satisfying moment for us in Ministry of Civil Aviation, and I think for all of us who care about aviation, that the women in aviation are getting recognized at the highest level in our country. And at this point, on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Civil Aviation, although he spoke a little bit in the clip in the video, I would like to convey his greetings on this day when we meet, giving wings to dreams. And just because some unavoidable field work that he had to attend, so he's in Andhra Pradesh, otherwise he was very much planning to be here with us, but he sends his greetings, he sends his very best wishes. In fact, the agenda was so dear to him that with the help of the President, Women in Aviation India, they had organized a program in Srikakulam just a few days back. So we saw him speak a little bit, the Honorable Minister. So I just convey that this is something very dear to him, something that is very close to his heart, something that he very much appreciates. And I send greetings from him. I convey very best wishes from him today. To demonstrate how the aviation sector would move ahead, let me touch on a few points only. One, let me touch on drones. Some will say drones are not aircraft. Yes, drones are not aircraft, but at the same time, drones are very much part of aviation. And I only mention because that's again a sector where women in aviation can also be very much involved, women in drones. And why I say drones is something new, we all know that. And as a country, we try to promote. The government introduced a PLI scheme for drones. And I'm happy to announce that among the PLI schemes that the central government had started, the PLI for drone scheme was one of the most successful. The budget was just rupees 120 crores. Ministry of Civil Aviation, we never move with big budgets. We move with efficiency. And it was just 120 crores, but I'm happy to announce today that that 120 crores has helped our Indian drone companies, 23 of them, to have a turnover of over rupees 1,400 crores today. So, and today we have about 21,000 drones registered in our country. And seeing the potential, in fact, the central government from the Ministry of Agriculture has introduced a new scheme, the Namo Drone Didi program, which is really to promote use of drone in agricultural sector with the women self-help groups. So the point I was coming to is in introducing this new scheme, which has the ambition of 15,000 drones against a current base of 20,000 drones entirely. The government wants to bring in 15,000 drones exclusively where women self-help groups will be the drivers and the leaders of the program. So the point I was coming into is that drones are again something that as women in aviation we can get involved. The government has given the backing, government has made the streamlined guidelines, and when we start hearing the success stories of the women, our sisters in the rural areas, in the rural settings, who have probably never sat in an aircraft, who have never seen, in fact, anything electronic, getting to handle the drones, getting to use them for spraying the nano fertilizers, getting to spray the pesticides, I think it is something where all of us as a family of aviation and women aviation, we can put our abilities and our talents together to support our sisters and our mothers in the rural areas, something very promising I just wanted to highlight very briefly. My next point is about the RCS UDAN, which was briefly mentioned. It is the regional connectivity scheme. And I mention it from the point that it's a scheme whose success has now given aspiration to the people, our fellow citizens in the length and breadth of the country, to aspire towards air travel, to aspire towards air connectivity, to aspire towards aviation. So not so much to highlight the success of the scheme, which we are of course very happy about, but really the 609 routes which the RCS UDAN has created, the new airports which have got activated, the over 1.4 crore people who would have otherwise never flown in an aircraft, who would have never thought of entering an aircraft, are now able to fly, have flown, is giving an aspiration. And that is where, again, as the family of aviation, and especially women in aviation, can plug into that aspiration which our people have had. In fact, even in the last few weeks and months, many chief ministers have come and called on our honorable minister just on the agenda of the regional connectivity. They are smaller towns, tier 2, tier 3 cities. The big cities have grown and will continue to grow by themselves, but the way the elected executive are now seeing the aspiration of the people and taking the trouble of coming to the Ministry of Civil Aviation and requesting the Honorable Minister for connectivity to their small towns, their small cities, and creating the airports, activating the airstrips which are non-functional, in fact looking at even World War II runways and all which can be activated. So aviation has now generated the momentum. So all of you who are today active members, in fact, in a few years' time, I think you will be the pioneers who will lead the expansion of aviation in the nook and corner of our country. So what our Madam Radha Bhatia has done the last few decades, I think it's in your hands to carry it forward, the palpable aspiration of our people. Leave aside the chief ministers, the members of parliament, the MLAs, you know, their agenda now is not about the big airports. That they will move by themselves, but it's the smaller towns. So that is something that we should all move ahead, be prepared for that. And in that future growth, I think all of you have selected the right profession. I can say it with full confidence, because if you look at the numbers, if you just look at the numbers, the number very frequently spoken is about the doubling in the number of airports. Yes, In the last 10 years, the number of airports has doubled, and which is not something which happens, in fact, it rarely happens. It rarely happens. So 10 years back, we had 74 airports, and today we are happy to say that we have 157 airports in our country, you know, something which is astounding, something which we are all collectively very proud of. But more than that, even the number of passengers have doubled. So 10 years back, we had about 11 crore passengers who were flying. Today, we have about 22 crore passengers who are flying. And even more promising is that seeing this, the number of aircraft is also multiplying. So Usha Padhi mentioned 400 when you joined. So it's 800 now. And in fact, what we expect is in the next 5 years, it will reach about 1,400 aircraft. 1,400 aircraft now. And all of you know better than me how many pilots, how many engineers, how many cabin crew, and how many other supporting staff each aircraft requires. Just to give you a number, one narrow-body aircraft requires 15 to 20 pilots. So for those aspiring to be pilots and those aspiring to move up in that hierarchy, your career is made. You know, from 800 aircraft, there will be 1,400 aircraft. So all of you are in the right profession. We are together. We are optimistic, and we would look forward that the aviation moves together, moves ahead with the contribution of the, in my conclusion, the better half that is there with all of us. Congratulations, all the best. Thank you.